All right, let's hop right into this. Make it a dream catcher, kind of like a fisherman style dream catcher. So I just got this piece of wire. It's made for like making spinner baits, making buzz baits, and we're just gonna bend this into a hoop. And it doesn't have to be exactly a perfect circle because you won't hardly notice after we're done if it's a perfect circle or not. All right, so you take the ends and you bend a little loop through them, and you just attach them together and just make it more into a circle. So typically, when I've made these before, we've used wax to thread, but I have paracord, so this is what we're gonna do. And I like the color of this paracord. So we're gonna take this paracord and we are going to take all of the insides out. So all these strands inside, we're gonna take those out. All right, now that you got all those out, you can go ahead and take the inside, set those aside, because we will be using that. All right, and you take your cord. We're gonna melt the ends a little bit. And that's good like that. Grab your other side. Same thing. Just a little bit. And now we're going to take this and we're going to wrap it around the whole outside of the dream catcher. Okay, so now you're at this point where you got this all wrapped around. I like to take and hook that little piece of paracord right into those little notches that we made. And you're not going to do anything fancy for a knot. You're just going to do a single overhand knot. And that's going to cover up that metal part just a bit, not in the back, but in the front right here. So now this is what you're going to, is what you can hang your dream catcher from. And you do a couple things from this point. You could easiest way is just doing a double knot like that, where just go over your finger, create a loop, take your two loose ends and you just put them through the loop like that, and you make your knot that way. I'm gonna do something a little different. So I'm gonna take this, I'm going to take this end, make sure I'm getting it flat, and I'm going to take and cut it at an angle. Then I'm going to roughly measure out the other side to where we get the same length. And I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to cut this off at an angle as well. And then what you're going to do, wrong angle. There we go. Okay, so then what you're going to do with this is you're just going to fuse this together. So grab your lighter again, and we're going to heat both of these sides up. Alright, so you got those heated up and they're melted, and then you can just fuse your paracord together like that. And it's pretty hot, so you want to be careful. Alright, and there we go. So we're at this right here. Next, you're going to take one of your strands, and the first thing you got to do is same thing. You got to go into your ends and you got to melt them so this isn't going to unravel any further. Okay. Now choose an end. You're going to start up here, and I'm just going to tie just an overhand knot, but then I'm going to double knot it. So I actually did something a little different. So the loops for the metal part, I actually took our string and I went through there and I double overhanded knotted it, and then your tag end, you're going to want to get that melted down, and that's just going to stay in place right that, just like that. Alright, so now we can get started actually making the dream catcher. And so you're probably like, Wyatt, how do you know how to make one of these? And I'll tell you what. So I grew up on a Native American reservation in South Dakota, and so instead of Columbus Day, we have Native American Day. And so on Native American Day, we went classroom to classroom, learned about different traditions, and one of my classmates' aunts taught us how to make dream catchers, and we got to make them and take them home. It was pretty sweet, actually. So to start off, you take your string, and it doesn't, I think, make a whole lot of a difference. If you want smaller holes, you can take less space. If you want a little bigger holes, a little farther spacing. So for this first one, we're gonna go like this, and you're going to go through. You're gonna have it run around the back. You're gonna bring it around the front, and you're gonna pull your string through. And I'm gonna bring it through one more time for this first set, just so you can get a little bit farther spacing from the hoop. Alright, and we're off, and you're just gonna keep. Oh, I was like, oh, this is like kind of like weird, but our hoop's not exactly flat. Alright, and you're just going to keep going like that for this first one. Where you bring it around to the front. Just like that, and you want to keep this fairly tight. Bring it around and through. And we're off. I honestly have not made one of these since then. But I wanted to make this today because last night my significant other, she had a nightmare, and so hopefully we can get those bad nightmares caught and only the good ones flow through. Because there's a lot of tradition and meaning behind dream catchers, and I urge anybody watching this to go and look it up and look at the meaning and the traditions and the storytelling behind it, because it's really interesting. You know, because dream catchers, it's not, I feel like with cultural appropriation nowadays, you know, you can get these a lot for decor, and people are like, oh yeah, got a dream catcher, you know, gotta get good vibes only. But you know, there's a lot of tradition behind things. It's not just for your good vibes, bro. So anyway, and last one, bring it to right here, come around and bring it through. All right, and I'm gonna start for the next one. I'm just gonna go right here. That's how I want to do it. You have to have a lot of string with this. I've seen where people have like bunch up their string and then just push it through. It's probably the easiest way to do it, honestly. But anyway, so you want to come to the next strand and you want to bring it through just like we've been doing. Get it to the middle and you want to keep it tight. Because how the story goes is a spider originally made the dream catcher. It's more complicated and there's more to it than that, but that's the simplified version of it, is a spider spun the first dream catcher. But this is a fun little project. It's something you could give to somebody. Traditionally, these are made from like willow hoops, you know, leather, sinew, but you know, we have some of our modern materials today that we're using here with, you know, nylon string, metal, and then I got a couple fun things to put on it as well, to decorate it a bit, you know, because this is a fishing channel, so we gotta jazz it up a little bit that way. Yeah, so like at night when your bad dreams come, they get caught in the web and there's a hole in the middle, and through that hole in the middle good dreams are able to pass through, and when the morning comes, the bad dreams get destroyed. So they're stuck in there until the morning. Alright, so you bring it through, bring it around the back. You know, and it's easier to make bigger ones, especially if you have like chubby fingers. Kind of the hard ones. The small ones can be a little hard. Anyway, you get that to the middle, and yeah, and basically you just keep going and keep repeating that pattern like that. Alright, so now you're at this point where you're not comfortable with doing any more loops. So with this, I forgot how we tied this off, so I'm just gonna do like an overhand knot. I'm just gonna wing it, and we're gonna see how it goes. Alright, so what I did is I just took and I went through the next nearest loop, and I went through, came back, and did an overhand knot. So we have where the knot ends on the back. We're gonna snip it off, and then very carefully, where that tag is, get your lighter going. Just put a little bit of heat on that so we get it melted. And there we go. We have up until this point. I'm impressed with myself. I don't think that looks that great right there, but other than that, I think it looks good. And so our next step is got a little bit of decorating to do. This right here, this is like kind of coming up. So what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna do one of those overhand knots right there, just to kind of keep everything in place, because I don't want this coming loose. And so you're just gonna tie an overhand knot just like so. And just cinch it down, and then you can still, you can still hang this. All right, we have that. I have a few feathers to put on it, and I have this Berkeley flicker shad, because we're all about fishing, and maybe we want some good fishing dreams to come through, So we're gonna put this on as well. All right, so what I got to tie on the feathers and the crankbait, got some good old braided fishing lines. So one thing, just want to tell y'all, gotta be careful what kind of feathers you use for this. You can't just go and pick up random feathers just off the road unless you know what they are. Because of the Migratory Bird Act, it makes picking up certain birds' feathers illegal. So I know these are okay because these are pheasant feathers. Upland game bird, you can use their feathers. Same with like a turkey, a grouse. Certain ducks you have to be careful with because, again, Migratory Bird Act. So we're just going to wrap that a couple of times, and nothing fancy. Overhand knots. It's the easiest thing to do. All right, and we have attached the feathers and the fishing lure, and we are done. Kind of a fun little thing. One thing that I did want to say before I jump off, this is something pretty harmless that you can do. Doing something, making something from somebody's culture. You have to be careful though with that, and I'm not going to get into it a whole lot, but this is something that you can do that's harmless. It's a fun little project, and I definitely urge you to go and check out the meaning and the story behind dream catchers. I just kind of wanted a fun project to do for the channel. Add a fishing element to it, but also, I wasn't having very good dreams. So we're going to try to fix that. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you Monday.